has a negative impact on the environment. But the reality is, for many people, it is the only practical way to travel.
So how can tourists still fly but do it more sustainably?
Travel is a meaningful part of many people's lives. For many, it's a source of happiness and connection.
But the environmental impact of air travel can't be ignored.
That's why it's so important to make air travel more sustainable, so we can continue exploring the world while still protecting it.
So let's fly into the facts.
Why is flying not green? Firstly, air travel is a major contributor to global emissions and climate change. Air travel generates around 2.5% of global carbon dioxide emissions, resulting in high-altitude clouds and other greenhouse gases. Secondly, the use of fossil fuels is essential for long-distance flights due to energy density, highlighting why alternative green solutions can be difficult. Thirdly, Battersby highlights that technological solutions such as electric planes and hydrogen-powered jets are still in progress and are severely underdeveloped. These adaptations are still years, if not decades, away before widespread use. Not only are these technical solutions far away, they are also extremely costly. This brings us onto the concept flight shame.
So, what is flight shame? The flight shame movement was co-founded by an Olympic gold medalist, Bjorn Ferry. The aim of this movement was to put social pressure on people to avoid flying due to the negative environmental consequences. It was set to encourage individuals to change old habits so we can reduce our carbon footprint. This movement came out around a similar time Greta Thunberg was becoming well known for her own climate action movement, Fridays for Future. These well-known public figures have a positive societal status, setting powerful examples which can greatly influence the behaviours of others.
Tourism is dependent on flying, yet flight shame calls for reduced flying. So, how can tourists fly and still be sustainable? We aren't saying you need to completely give up travelling, because that is super unrealistic. Instead, try to consider the following. Point number 1. Avoid unnecessary flights and consider the use of trains for short-haul flights, especially in regions with strong rail networks. 2. Fly less and stay longer. This concept encourages tourists to take fewer flights and stay longer at their destination instead of frequent short trips. 3. Consider online filter trips on flight search engines. For example, on Skyscanner, they have an option to only show flights with lower CO2 emissions. 4. Educate others and spread awareness. This can be done through joining sustainable travel forums, engaging in discussions, and talking about how flying is considered not sustainable. 5. Book a non-stop flight to reduce your emissions as it takes the most direct route. This is because planes release the most carbon during takeoff and landing, hence why it's better to book direct. These points highlight that flight shame can encourage more sustainable approaches to air travel rather than Greta Thunberg's complete avoidance of flying. Now, what does the future of travel look like if things change versus if we don't do anything?
The future of sustainable travel is in our hands. So, what can we do? The best things that us tourists can do is take trains. Additionally, we can reduce our environmental impact by taking shorter flights and having longer stays in each destination. It's also important for us to reduce unnecessary trips. If we start to make these small changes within our lives, it will help reduce the negative impact that air travel is having on the climate. The good news is that there is already evidence to suggest that we are moving towards a more sustainable future. One of Scandinavia's biggest airlines blames the Swedish FLYGSKAM movement for the 8% drop in passenger numbers. This statistic from the British Broadcasting Corporation highlights that in some countries, individuals are already actively responding to the climate concern by changing their travel behaviour after being influenced by the FLYGSKAM movement. As seen on the BBC News, some people have not reacted well to the movement and are feeling personally blamed and embarrassed. While this negative response presents challenges, it also highlights the movement's original goal, which is to create enough social pressure to encourage people to reconsider flying because it significantly harms the environment. If there are minimal to no changes in our ways of travel from now into the near future, we are predicted to double the amount of flying we're already doing by 2050, consequently releasing more carbon emissions. As stated earlier, air travel have already released so many carbon emissions into the environment that have caused severe damage. Therefore, if air travel increases like it's predicted to by 2050, the results will further intensify the environmental damage, making it near impossible to reverse. These facts highlight how it's important to integrate these practices into our lives. Us individuals have a significant influence and play such an important role for the future of our global economic health and sustainability.
If we start implementing sustainable practices implemented by the FLYGSKAM movement,
We can start to make a difference to help reduce the impact that air travel is having on the environment.